Ken Buckley's a pro cycling coach with over 10 years of experience. In today's episode, 13 things that he loves.
Second to your physical input, aerodynamics are the absolute number one biggest thing you should be considering if you're trying to ride your bike as fast as possible. So I've done some wind tunnel testing on my road bike, and without changing any equipment or any position on the bike or anything like that, there was 100 watts difference from riding the bike upright to riding it in a really hunkered down, aggressive aerodynamic position. 100 watts. And that's just way more than most people will ever find in years of training. And it just absolutely should be right up there on your list of things to consider when you're trying to go fast on a bike. Most of the time, people are trying to balance out aerodynamics and comfort. And that's good, and I understand that, because getting really aero is never comfortable and it's never sustainable for the entirety of your race. But you need to pick and choose the time when you're gonna use those aerodynamic positions. So when you're on the front, when the wind's the strongest, when you really need to be going as fast as possible, when the speed is high, those are the times when you wanna engage those aero riding positions. If you're sitting in a big bunch or you're going slow, if you're going slower than 10 miles an hour, it doesn't make all that much difference. So you can sit up and be comfortable and get more power out. But if you're against aero, or you don't care, or you don't want to use clip-on bars, then you're missing out on a lot of gains. People that I coach will know that I'm going to say this, because I'm always going on about doing your full cool down. And I'm going to bring warm-ups into this as well. So doing warm-ups and cool downs before and after your big races, big events. It will make you faster, it will make the race feel better, and you will get more out of yourself if you do those things. Cool down is a little bit more contentious because it's really difficult to actually find some proper research study data to prove that cool downs work. And trust me, I've spent a lot of hours trying to find it so I can share it with people, but it doesn't quite exist in the format that I want it. But you've just got to look at the pros. Nowadays, after every stage of the tour or whatever race it is you're watching, they're all doing cool downs. It makes a massive difference to how quickly you recover and how you feel the next day on the bike. If you're not riding the next day, perhaps it doesn't matter quite so much. Do your warm-ups, do your cool downs, it works. And if you do it, your coach will love you. Let's go, the shoe dryer. This one's not very powerful. This one's not powerful enough. But in the top 10 things that a pro cycling coach loves, I'm gonna put in the shoe dryer. There's nothing worse than coming to a ride the day after you've been out in bad weather and your shoes are still wet, your helmet is still wet, and it's just gross putting it back on. So if you've got a little bit of kit like this, it's actually pretty cheap and pretty easy to come by in your garage or your spare room or whatever, and it's drying out your shoes and your helmet for the next day's ride, you're on to a winner. You'll do more rides, you'll enjoy them more, and you'll go faster on your bike. Riders who fuel their rides really well. So you don't have to follow everything to the exact gram, to the letter, and record it. It's nice if you do, your coach will like that. But so long as you're fueling your long rides and your hard rides really, really well and keeping an eye on the amount of carbohydrates that are going in, you're gonna do a lot better. It won't feel as hard and you'll get more out of the session, you'll recover faster, and everyone will be happy. I really love wet weather gear. So things that are gonna help you enjoy a bike ride in less than ideal weather conditions. So things like spats over shoes. They're an absolute game changer when it comes to keeping your feet dry, keeping your shoes dry, all of that stuff. They're lovely and warm, brilliant. Highly recommend those. Gore shake dry jackets. So like a soft shell jacket that's really light, really easy to pack, and just does a great job of keeping you dry. I also really like clip-on mud guards. Takes 5 seconds, clip them on, take them off when you don't want them. Keeps your butt dry, keeps everyone riding behind you happy, and you'll enjoy a wet weather ride a lot more. Wireless headphones. So I've got some from Shure, S-H-U-R-E, and they're really low profile wireless Bluetooth headphones that will fit underneath ear warmers or underneath the helmet. They clip onto your tops. They'll never, even if they do drop out, you'll never lose them. And they're really good for just being able to have a little bit of music on, or a podcast or a book or whatever, just to keep yourself entertained while you're doing a long, slow, easy ride. And if you're worried about traffic or hearing things come in or anything like that, then you can just take one out so you can still hear what you want to hear and still hear all the angry drivers coming. A dedicated charging station. So this can be a particular product or just an area in your house where all of your different gadgets and cables that you need are ready to go, plugged in, charging. So when you go to do your bike ride, your lights, your camera, your computer, everything that you need to charge is there, ready to go, and then nothing's going to go wrong. And likewise, when you've done your ride, you can just go to the one place, plug everything in and forget about it. There's nothing worse than trying to get out for a bike ride and having to hunt around for all the different bits of kit you need, and batteries are empty and things aren't working. And before you know it, you've wasted 45 minutes that you could have been riding the bike. Talking to your coach a lot. Like the main thing that separates just having a training plan from having a coach is your ability to talk to them, how things are going, how the session felt, whether you've missed a session. That's the number one piece of communication that's missing, is why you missed the session. That's what I see more than anything else. I see someone miss a session and then not say why. Did you sleep bad? Were you too busy? Is the plan too much? But just a quick conversation about that can make such a massive difference to your performance, your ability on the bike, long term, how well you perform and what events you can do. But if you have a coach and then don't talk to them, it's really, really difficult for both people, because I'm trying to help you and I really, really care about you getting the most out of yourself on the bike and going fast and achieving your goals. But I need information from you in order to do that. So if you're adding Training Peaks comments after every ride, even if it's one sentence, that was good, that was bad, then do it. And you'll get so much more value out of your coach if you share a lot with them. I get asked quite a lot, am I fast enough to be coached? And it's really not about that. What I'm looking for in somebody that's going to be a good athlete and someone that's good to work with, it's just that they really, really want to do well. They want to get better and they're really committed to it. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you are. What matters is you really want to move forwards, and you'll listen to the advice, understand it, take it on board, and actually make some changes in order to get quicker on the bike. Understanding the goal of the session. So the biggest difference between going for a bike ride and doing a training session is having focus and purpose and knowing what the goal is that you're trying to achieve that day. If you're just blindly following a training plan and you don't really know what you're trying to achieve with that bike ride, even if you're following the intervals and doing what you're supposed to be doing in terms of the power and the heart rate and all that stuff, you might have completely missed the point of the session, and you might be leaving a lot on the table, or you might be doing too much. So what I really like to see from a rider is that they're really trying hard to understand why they're going out on the bike that day. And it helps in all sorts of scenarios as well, because you might have things go wrong with your equipment, you might have traffic interrupt you, you might have weather change, you might have to divert from the exact letter of the plan, and that's going to be a lot easier to do if you understand which bits are important and what you're trying to achieve that day. Leaving a comment on every ride. And what I mean by this is whatever piece of software that you use, or if you use something paper-based, it's keeping a training diary of your training and leaving a sentence or two just to describe how that training felt on that particular day. If anything of note happened, if it was good, if it was bad, and just a little bit of information that either you can refer back to later or that your coach can read and glean some insight from that training session. So if you're on Training Peaks, leave a comment immediately after your ride. There's so much value you get from that, it has to be right at the top of your list. Planning your season in advance. You'll get a hell of a lot more out of your year if you have a good idea of when things are going to be happening. It doesn't have to be the exact race on the exact dates, but just a rough idea of when, and plan it far enough in advance that your coach is going to be able to sit down and have a good idea of where you are now and where you're trying to get to and how much time you've got to do that. There's nothing worse than races popping up last minute or not having a clue where you're going to be in 3 months' time and what the race is going to be. Like I say, even if you don't know the exact date, just have a time of year in mind and you'll keep your coach a lot happier, because coaches tend to be the kind of people that like to plan, and they're organized and they do things months in advance. People might text me on a Tuesday and say, oh, I'm doing the National A at Rydale on Sunday. And I get it, that life can be a bit up and down and you need to be flexible and things change. But the further in advance you can figure out when you want to be at your best, the more you'll get out of yourself. Keeping your calendar up to date. This is a really simple thing, but it slips by the wayside quite often. Things change, holidays come up, dates change, events happen, things get cancelled. But the sooner you tell your coach about it, the more they can help you be prepared. If you're not telling them, or telling them about things at the last minute, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to get the most out of yourself. Telling your coach straight away, or just keeping your training diary up to date a month, 2 months in advance, is going to help you a hell of a lot.
Those are 13 things that Ken loves. What do you love? Put it in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to this channel for more.